thumbs up naman po if nandyan na po kayo. Thank you, Miss Janica. We have here Sir Trin. Let's just wait for her, Cheyenne. Janie. Okay, Janie is here as well. And si Miss Hershey. Yun. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. So, any question before we proceed? About risk, a type of risk and risk management? Wala po. Okay, so guys, this is how we're gonna do. I think it would be more efficient for us to discuss. Patapusin muna natin yung discussion natin before we proceed for the MCQs. So I think our MCQs and a little bit more of our discussion will be next week. So, ngayon, medyo madami pa tayong slides. So, I don't think we can finish all ng slides natin today. So, what we're gonna do is that whatever na hindi natin ma-finish, let's continue next week. And then we'll start with the MCQ. Okay? So, now let's move on to your enterprise risk management. Okay? So, meron tayo dito tinatawag na COSO ERM framework. Okay. Guys, na-aral nyo na ba or in one of your sessions, na-aral nyo na ba yung COSO framework ng internal COSO framework din, but not on ERM. Check on. Okay, I think itong COSO, i-discuss na lang natin next time. Because I think mas magandang discuss din natin yung COSO framework for internal controls. Dalawa kasi itong framework na to, guys. But anyway, I think let's just discuss this one. Next week na yung COSO for internal control. Anyway, so ano po ba yung COSO? Okay, before we jump into this framework. So your COSO is your Committee of Sponsoring Organizations. It's actually an advisory group, no, to help organizations to manage risk. Okay, for risk management issues. Okay, so it's an non-government actually siya, itong COSO organization na to, no? So they come up with framework. Okay, so ano po ba yung mga framework? So later on, if nagbasa-basa na kayo, guys, meron tayong several frameworks for the CMA exam. Meron tayo for risk, meron tayo for internal controls. Okay, halos pare-parehas lang yung sinasabi nila. Okay? But the most important thing that we should take into consideration when we're discussing about framework is that ito, guys, they are just standard. They are just guidance. Okay? They are not there, or these are not established to be the standards. Okay? Guidance lang talaga sila. So, nasasabi lang ni COSO is that you should follow this one for you to have a better risk management. Pero, hindi niya sinasabi na you should be 100% compliant. Kung ano yung sinasabi namin, yun yung gawin mo. No. Hindi. It's just a guidance. Okay? Always remember, it's just a guidance. So, meron silang provide na framework or guidance on how organizations can implement their risk management. Okay? What are the components ng risk management? Ito yung suggestions ni So guys, meron tayong 5. We have your governance and culture. That's the first one. Number 2 is your strategy on objective setting. Number 3 is your performance. Number 4 is your review and revision. And then your 5th one is your information, communication, and reporting. Okay, let's discuss them one by one. Okay? Usually, ang atake nito sa mga questions sa exam is that they will give you an example, no? And then you will try to identify kung anong component yun. Okay? So let's discuss them one by one. So the first one is, okay, so your enterprise risk management muna as a whole is your the culture, the capabilities and practices integrated with strategy setting and performance that organizations rely on to manage the risk and creating, preserving, and realizing value. Okay, so ang sinasabi ni Kozo, okay, if you use this as your guidance, no, as a framework on how you manage your risk, you will improve your decision making. And then you will enhance the performance of the organization. Yun yung promise ni Kozo. Okay? So now let's move on to the components. First one is your governance and culture. Okay? You will have a good risk management if, no, your tone of the top and then the one responsible for ERM or your enterprise risk management have risk awareness, have desired behaviors, and they are instilling the right ethical values. Sa madaling sabi, ang sinasabi ni Kozo is that yung risk management mo, it is greatly affected by the what? By the attitude, by the personalities of the people on the top. What do you mean by tone from the top? Meaning your management, the top management, yung board of directors, yung mga CEO, CFO, okay? On how they understand risk, on how they accept risk, and how they know how important to manage risk. Kasi guys, isipin mo yung boss mo, hindi naniniwala sa risk. If hindi naniniwala yung boss mo sa risk, then you will not be performing any risk management, any risk assessment, or any risk analysis. Yun yung sinasabi niya. So, umpisa pa lang, ang sinasabi ni Kozo is that there should be a participation, no? It should be the main responsibility of the management, no, to lead the people to the organization on a good risk management practice. Okay, yun po yung sinasabi niya. So there are 5 principles related to governance and culture. Okay, number 1, very important. The board of directors exercises risk oversight. You know what's happening. They are aware of the risk. We have operating structures. You have defined your desired culture. What's your core values? Meaning, ano yung prinsipyo ng organization nyo as a whole when it comes to risk. And then, once you establish that, you should demonstrate that core values. And then, also, one of the principles is that you attract and develop and retain capable individuals. So, sunod-sunod na yan, guys. Kasi pag yung one of the top mo or your top management have the right ethical values, no, you wanted to make sure that people under you are also with the same values. Okay? So that's your governance and culture. How the organization is managed and what's the culture of the organization as a whole, it greatly affects how they manage their risk. Okay? That's the first one. Second one is your strategy and objective setting. Okay, so this one, with a core focus on strategic planning, understanding the long-term impact of risk and the contributing factors, this section offers guidance to establish the risk appetite. Guys, na-discuss na natin yung risk appetite natin. Formulating key objectives and defining and processing for defining the processes for adequately identifying, assessing, and responding to risk. So, ano yung strategy mo? Okay. So, what's your strategy when it comes to risk? Dito natin makikita yung the organization is setting up your acceptable level of risk or your risk appetite. Okay? Dito din, dinidescribe ni Koso kung paano ginagawa yung risk management within the organization. So you should have a process in place to identify, to assess, and to respond to your risk. Okay? Ito, parang binibuild up mo na yung plan mo on how you do your risk management. Okay? So, kapatid niya si performance. Okay? Whatever you have established, whatever you have strategized, and whatever objective that you have set, kailangan mo siyang i-perform. Okay? Kaya sabi dito, once the strategy has been developed, the next step is to assess the risk that could hinder a business to strive towards its goal. Okay? So, nasa risk analysis tayo dito, guys. This component assists organization in prioritizing the risk based on their severity. Okay? So, dito mo ginagawa yung actual risk assessment and risk analysis. Dito sa strategy and objective setting, nagsiset ka pa lang ng standards mo. And once you've set that standards, you do your performance, the action. Okay? So, nakita nyo dito, meron tayong risk inventory, okay, risk and opportunity identification. So, dito na talaga ginagawa mismo yung ating risk management. And of course, hindi mawawala yung what we call your review and revision. Meaning, you monitor. Okay? You improve your enterprise risk management. Okay? Napakadali. And the last one is, this is also very important, that you inform, communicate, and report the concept, the results, the procedures you have performed on your risk assessment. Okay? So, hindi lang po yung top management yung pinaka-responsible. It's not just the top management responsibility to perform the enterprise risk management, but it's the organization as a whole. Okay? So, balik tayo dito. Napaka-easy, no? You have your governance and culture. You need to set the tone of your organization. Strategy and objective setting, you need to set the standards on how you should perform your enterprise risk management. Once na-set mo na yung settings mo, yung strategy mo, yung risk appetite, you perform the risk management. Okay? And then you review, and then you revise. Whatever the strategy, whatever the result of the performance is, you should inform, communicate, and report all of those things. Okay? So, ito yung sinasabi ni Kozo, na organization should have this type of guidance to help them better establish an enterprise risk management. Kung babasahin nyo ito sa libro, guys, nako, parang 5 page. Parang 5 page yung isang component. Pero yun lang yung gustong sabihin ng framework na to. Okay? So, the question is, why we should implement COSO ERM? Okay? As the risk landscape become ever more volatile and complex, the COSO ERM framework not only helps to provide assurance to key stakeholders, but also offers an effective lens through which businesses can evaluate their ability to align strategy, risk, and then performance. So you see, guys, their strategy, the risk, and how they perform no? Yun yung pinaka-concept ng COSO ERM. Okay? Another benefit of the COSO framework is that it accommodates modern-day risk management technology and the generation of data and analytics to support decision-making, a sure way to mitigate any unwanted surprises and harness opportunities for future organizational success. Okay? But we have also some limitations din, no, ng ating COSO ERM. Again, since this is assessment, excuse me, hindi natin may iwasan yung faulty human judgment. Okay? Tayo rin lang kasing gumagawa ng criteria natin. So, sometimes there are human judgments that we cannot avoid. Second one, kanina ko pa to inuulit ng inuulit. You have your cost-benefit considerations. Sometimes, sinasabi ni ERM na, oh, you should take a look into this one. Kailangan mo itong pagtuunan ng pansin. But as a business, no, as a profit-minded people, no, meron tayong kino-consider na cost-benefit considerations. That the benefit should be higher than the cost that we are incurring. Okay? We also have simple errors or mistake. And of course, yung collusion. Pag may collusion, guys, kahit gaano kaganda yung control na implement mo, kahit gaano ka mag-follow ng mga framework, if there are collusions, no, it will definitely not work. And of course, ito yung lagi nating iniiwasan, the management override of ERM practices. Na, ayan, babalik ulit tayo sa governance and culture. The tone of the top is very, very important. Okay? Kasi they have greater power in the organization. Hindi naman pwedeng pagsabihan mo yung CEO or board of directors, right? That's why the culture, at the same time, their visions, no, their attitudes as well, no, on the organization really reflects on everything. Okay, so that's your COSO ERM limitations. Okay, so guys, that's for risk. Okay, so now let's focus now on what really our control is all about. So the reason, no, why we have controls again is because we have risk. Okay, so as part of our responses to risk, we implement controls. Okay? We implement controls. Pero before I go on to that, I would want to give also a very quick discussion on what control is. Okay? A control is actually a process or a procedure that is implemented within the organization. And the reason of implementing on that one is, the first one is to reduce, mitigate, or terminate risk. At the same time, it is your way to make sure that the operations of your organization is running as intended. Okay? So, I'll give you a very, very good example, a very simple example of a control. Guys, pag pumapasok kayo sa building ninyo, I don't know if this is applicable for you guys, but most of the building premises now, meron ginagamit na tap cards. Okay? Once papasok yung empleyado or someone in the building premise, they need to tap their card. It's not just simple tapping of the cards para mag-open yung turnstile or mag-open yung door. But there are a lot to it. Okay, hold on one sec. Wait lang, guys. Okay, pag once nag-tap ka dun sa machine, dun sa entrance ng building, it will open the door, yes. But what you don't know is that there's also a log, no? nalalog kung sino yung pumapasok doon. At the same time, sometimes, no, yung mga elevators, may mga top cards din yan na itong card mo, it's just allowed for floors 5 and 6, parang ganon. So you are restricting access to the premises, the building. That's a control. Because the risk is, ayaw mong kung sino-sino lang yung pumapasok sa building. You are making sure that yung pumapasok lang are the people who really should have access with the within the premises. Okay? That's a control. Okay? Another control is that pag may bisita sa building ulit, okay, paparahin ka ni Kuya Security Guard. Okay? Hihingin ka ng ID, maglalog ka, hihingin yung pangalan mo, sino yung bibisitahin mo and whatnot. That's an example of a control. Okay? I have a question. Okay? Chat box or you can unmute your mic. Whatever works for you guys. How do you record your time in your work? How do you record your time? Face ID. Wow, social. Paano yun, Miss Janie? So, may app po kayo?
Yes, may app po. So, we can enter or we should see to the look to the system so that we can enter to the we can then the system will read our face, something like that.
Mhm.
So that is our time in or time out, same way.
Ano yun po? Sa phone po yun na app?
Ay, hindi po, sa
building mismo?
sa building po mismo.
Okay. So, parang pagpapasok ka, para siyang biometrics, parang ganun, pero face ID.
Yeah, pero face po. Yes.
Ang social naman. Nice. Okay. But tas pag magta-time out na, ganun ulit.
Same lang din. So, you have to press the entry or the exit.
Understand. So, paano pag na-late?
Wala namang issue. Ganun pa din naman. But, I think we have a system for that. So, they can easily track who is late. Yeah, if you are enter late, so they can also track from the system.
Oh, understand. Okay, that's good. Okay. Wow, very high end. Paano pag hindi pumasok, Miss Jenny? Tapos nag-work from home?
Based sa HR na meron pong memo na sila po yung magpo-control for if ever work from home. So, wala naman pong tawag dito, attendance for that.
Okay,
so,
understand.
Yeah, magme-memo lang si HR na work from home kami. And then, yun na. Sila na yung mag-a-adjust sa system.
Understand. Okay, cool. Nice. Social naman ng face ID. Okay, so walang hiraman to. At least pag nagta-top card, pwede mo magpahiram ng card. Tapos dito, face ID. That's nice. How about the rest po? How about the rest? Ano po yung ginagawa to mag-time in or anong tawag dito? Access card din si Ms. Hershey. So, yung typical access card po, na parang kung anong oras kang pumasok, anong oras kang nag-time out, ganun din po ba? Yes, okay. May gumagamit pa ba ng bandit clock dito? I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Yung parang may papasok kang papel, tas kung ano na yung oras nag-time in and nag-time out. Very, very manual. Wala na ba? Okay. So, yan. That's an example of control. No? because you are trying to get informations from your people, no? Lalong-lalo na if napakadaming tao dun sa organization, no? Parang this is your control in place to make sure that first, you are collecting information from your employee on what time they come to work. That's also your control in place to compute kung magkano yung ibibigay mong sahod sa kanila. Because remember, if, for example, usually, I was working with Coca-Cola, biometrics kami doon. So, tab mark lang. So, pag na-late ka, I think every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes pag na-late ka, may kaltas ka na. So, ayun, yun yung ginagamit na control nila in place. So, that's one. So, what is a control process? So, may different steps siya, guys. So, the establishment of standard. Meaning, how will the control work? Okay? So, for example, bibigyan mo ng instruction or procedure kung paano mag-work yung control. Say, for example, yung Face ID. The standard is that when you go to the office, you do the Face ID, it will record what time you comes in. Pag hindi ka pumasok, you can reach out to HR, sila lang bahala. So, that's the standard. That's the procedure of the control. Okay? And then, the step 2 of the control process is that it's not just merely establishing the control, but it's also the measurement of actual performance. Nagwo-work ba yung control as intended? For example, pag pumasok ka, nalalag pa niya yung correct time kung kailan ka pumasok. Okay? Sinusunod ba siya? Ginagawa ba siya ng mga empleyado? Or na-override ba siya? Okay? That's your measurement of your actual performance. Now, you will do a comparison of the actual performance with the standards. Sinusunod ba lahat yung steps? Sinusunod ba lahat yung procedures? If yes, that's good. If it's not, then you need to do a corrective action to correct it. Okay? So, another example is that, okay, pag new employee. Okay. Pag new employee ka, wala kang access sa system. Okay? So, that's the first thing na binibigay sa'yo. Binibigyan ka ng email address and password para mag-log in sa system. So, the standard is, kailangan i-request yan. Okay? Usually, ang nagre-request si HR pag bago yung empleyado. Okay? Nagre-request si HR, tapos, yung magiging manager mo within the organization, they will provide approval. Okay? Kailangan i-approve. Once na-approve, i-grant na sa'yo yung access. Bibigyan ka na ng email address, bibigyan ka na ng password. Okay? So ngayon, there will be a comparison of the actual performance. Yung ba yung talagang ginagawa in practice? Kasi usually, sometimes nasa papel lang yan. Pero hindi talaga ginagawa. So, sometimes ang ginagawa, pag may na new hire, naku, wala nang approval. Grant na agad. Okay? So, pag nakita mo yung comparison of your actual performance and with the standard, and hindi siya ginagawa, you need to do something about it. Okay? That's the importance of control, guys. Please take note, it should be documented, no? The procedures, the process on how the control works should be documented. The reason to that is that, again, babalik tayo sa ERM framework natin, no? It should be reported, it should be communicated, no? Everyone should be informed. So, how do you inform everyone? It should be documented. It should be stored somewhere wherein mababasa ng lahat para alam nila kung ano yung sinusunod nila. Okay? So, that's your control process. Ayan. So, ngayon, meron na dito tayo ngayon sa types of your internal controls. Those controls that you implement within your organization. So guys, this is very, very important. Usually, ito yung tinatanong, no, sa exam. They give you a scenario, and then you go and identify what type of control is that. Is that a prevent control? Is that a detect or a corrective control? Okay, again, from the term itself, prevent, meaning ayaw mong mangyari. Okay? Ayaw mong mangyari. This control, it's put in place to avert a negative event from occurring. There are also physical or administrative preventive controls such as segregation of duties that are routinely performed by companies. But anyway, when we say prevent controls, ayaw mo siyang mangyari. So ano yung gagawin mo para hindi siya mangyari? Okay? So, I'll give an example. You don't want people, inappropriate people to have access to your premises. For example, dun sa server room, no? Yung server room, napaka-critical na kwarto niyan. So, very limited lang yung mga people na merong access dun sa server room. Now, for you to prevent someone else from going into that room, you only restrict the access to 5 individuals. That's your prevent control. You are preventing other inappropriate individuals to go into the room, something like that. Okay. Now, guys, I will give a list. No, let's do some practice on the prevent control. Let's do a list on. I'll give you a list, and you'll provide me a prevent control for that. Okay? So, my risk is, balik tayo sa bakery natin, guys. So, sa bakery natin, you are preventing your cashier to steal money. No? You are preventing your employees to steal money from your business. So, what's your prevent control? How do you prevent it? Again, there is no right or wrong answer here. It depends on how you rationalize your answer. Daily, okay. Cash count, tapos na kasi yung araw dyan. Is that a prevent control? I don't think so. A daily cash out is not a prevent control. I'll discuss later on why. CCTV, pwede. What else? Using POS against order slip. Ano po yung POS? Just wanted to make sure na parehas po tayo ng iniisip. Ano po yung POS, Miss Janie? Point of sale system. Okay. Real time. Okay. Real time yung ating sale. Okay. What else? Yung prevent control mo. Ano pa yung naiisip nyo, guys? So, yung employee mo, ayaw mong, or yung nasa cashier, ayaw mong, you're preventing them to steal money. Get money from the cash box. Daily deposit to bank. Let's see. Okay, so punta muna tayo dun sa first answer natin. So sabi ni Sir Drin, daily cash count daw. Okay. Guys, yung daily cash count, that's at the end of the day. Okay? So, what you're trying to do in your daily cash count is to ensure na walang nawala. Okay? That's already an example of a detect control. Kasi tapos na. Okay? Tapos na yung araw, magbibilang ka na. You've wanted to ensure na walang nangyari. Okay? But, prevent control, ang gusto natin is walang mangyari. Okay? Before mangyari, i-end na natin siya or i-control na natin siya. But your detect control, tapos na. Okay? You are doing something, no? Right now, for example, your daily cash count, to understand if merong nawawala. You are trying to detect. Okay? You're trying to detect if tama yung bilang ng pera. So your daily cash count cannot be a prevent control. It's actually a detect control. Okay? Malinaw po? So it's a detect. Now let's go on to your CCTV. Yung CCTV, pwede siyang prevent, pwede siyang detect. Diba? Sabi ko sa inyo guys, depende kung paano kayo mag-isip. Okay, pwede siyang prevent if, okay, alam mo, you inform your employee, who employee, may CCTV dyan sa cashier. So every time, so this will give your employee anong tawag dito? This will give your employee a reason not to do it. Okay? Kasi alam niyang mahuhuli siya. Okay? That's the CCTV. It's a good prevent control. Okay? If what you are instilling to your employees is that I'm watching you. Okay? So, with that, you are preventing him or her to do the act. But, it can also be used as a detect control. How? Pag may nawala, you will review the CCTV. So again, tapos na. Okay? At the end of the day, you will review the CCTV. Titignan mo kung may kumuha or wala. So it's a detect control. Okay? When you're trying to identify if something happened, that will be considered as a detect control. Okay? Point of sale, yes, pwede siyang prevent control. Kasi every time may sale ka na, hindi ka na pwedeng maglagay ng other informations. So, pwede siya sa prevent control. Daily deposit to bank is that also an example of your detect control. At the end of the day, tapos na. Okay? Unless, if yung control mo is to making sure na hindi nananakaw yung cash mo, you put it in the bank, that can also be an example of a prevent control. So, see guys, walang control na pwedeng maging, walang control na prevent lang or detect lang. It depends on the situation. Okay? What's another example to prevent this one is only allowing the appropriate individual to handle the cash. You are preventing other employees, no, to get or steal cash from the cash box. That's a prevent control. Okay? Another detect control, meron kang managers na magre-review at the end of the day. So, usually, the setup is anything that you do at the end of the day, anything that you do to review, anything you do to revisit what happened, that's all part of the detective control. Okay? After the fact of a discretionary event, yun yung detect control. Pero yung prevent, ayaw mo siyang mangyari. Okay? Ayaw mo siyang mangyari. Another prevent control is that nilalak mo yung cash box. Okay? Nilalak mo yung cash box. That's a prevent. Okay? Detect mo, binibilang mo siya at the end of the day because you wanted to understand kung parehas pa rin ba yung number. So, you see, sometimes mahirap i-distinguish yung prevent and detect. But always run into your head, no? Tapos na ba yung event? what am I trying to do? Am I trying to see if may nangyari? Am I trying to look at what or have a report or a review at the end of the day? Lagi siyang detect control. Okay? Yung corrective control, very easy. Papasok lang yung corrective control if may na-detect ka. Okay? Controls put in place after detective internal controls discover a problem. Doon lang mapasok yung corrective control. Okay? So, another example of a prevent control is that, yun nga, yung example ko kanina na if we have a new employees, no, hindi ka basta-basta magre-grant ng access sa system. Kailangan ina-approve muna siya ng manager. That's your prevent. And your detect is that every month, nire-review ng manager lahat ng may access. So you see, that's your detect control. Say for example, may na-detect siya na isang empleyado, matagal nang nag-resign pero may access pa din. Papasok si corrective control. Anong gagawin niya? Tatanggalin niya yung access. That's your corrective control. That's how it works. Okay? Again, go into the office with your Face ID, access card, that's your prevent control. Okay? That's your prevent control. Your detect control is that if you are reviewing the logs, okay, if you have identified someone else who used it inappropriately, that's your detect control. Okay? I have one wrist. Okay? Another example. Let's do another round. So, balik tayo sa bakery. My risk is spoilage of your ingredients, spoilage of your raw materials, your ingredients in baking the bread, for example. So, what's a good prevent control? Ayaw nating nasisira agad yung mga supply natin. Yung mga ingredients, for example, the milk, the eggs. What's a good prevent control? Anyone? Prevent, guys, ha? Pre-prevent natin na lagi tayong nasisiraan ng ingredients. Okay, for example, eggs, your milk, your flour, your sugar. Anyone? FIFO. Okay, that's see Hershey, just enough inventory. Yes. So we have JIT. Pwede yung JIT, just in time. Kung ano yung gagamitin lang nating inventory during the day, yun lang. Okay, that's good. That's a prevent control. FIFO usage of ingredients. Yes, that's also correct. Okay, good job, guys. What else? Ano pa yung naiisip nyo? Ano pa? What else? Use of machines like refrigerators. Bumili tayo ng mas malaking refrigerator para mas marami tayong ma-store. That's also one prevent control. Okay? What about a detect control? How are we able to detect? No, what control can be in place to ensure, no, especially to ensure na hindi tayo laging nasisiraan ng ating mga ingredients or raw materials. What do you guys recommend? Putting production date. I think that would be your prevent. Okay? You're putting your production date, pine-prevent mo siyang masira Okay? Pero yung detect mo is if at the end of the day, you have someone to review or look into those production dates. Pwedeng ganon. Someone else, you assign an inventory manager. Okay, yes, checking expiration dates, or you have your inventory manager to manage your inventory at the end of the day. That's an example of a detect control. Okay? Yung putting production date, yeah, that's a very good preventive control for you to be able to, parang stock mo siya based on expirations or the production date or whatnot. Okay? Daily inventory count is also an example of a good detective control. Okay, so guys, see the difference, okay? Take note nyo yung difference of your prevent and your detect. Okay, isipin nyo, tapos na ba? Okay? And then, isipin nyo, am I trying to find if may nangyari? That will be your detect. Okay? There are also other types of your internal controls. So the first one is your compensatory control or your mitigative controls. This will reduce when the primary controls are ineffective. However, they do not by themselves reduce the risk to an acceptable level. Okay, ganito kasi yung compensation controls, guys. So say for example, meron kang prevent control. Okay? Hindi nag-work yung prevent control mo. So, meron kang detect. Okay? So, meron kang additional control as a backup, no? Para i-compensate yung ineffective or control na hindi nag-work. Okay? Say, for example, gusto ko yung example ni Sir Drin and then ni Miss Hershey with regards to our inventory na maglalagay ka ng production date or expiration date. Okay? Even though you are putting that, no? Echo? Stop. Even though you are putting those dates, no? Nasisiraan ka pa din. Okay? Nasisiraan ka pa din ng ingredients. Nasisiraan ka pa rin ng milk, ng eggs or whatnot. So, kailangan mo pa ng additional control for that. Kailangan mo someone else to do your inventory check at the end of the day. Gets nyo yun, guys? So, dalawang control, no? Para mag-work together. Kasi, for example, hindi mo naayos ng maigi yung inventory mo. Parang siguro ang gusto mo lahat ng expired bukas nasa taas. Yung mga expired sa baba, nasa baba. Parang ganon. So, hindi mo siya ganon naayos. So, magiging ineffective. Hindi mag-work yung talagang control na gusto mong implement. Pero, if meron kang inventory manager at the end of the day who does the review, diba? It will still capture or mitigate or reduce the risk. If that makes sense. So, ganun po nag-work yung compensatory controls. There are two controls na pag hindi nag-work yung isa, merong sasalo. Okay? But, they do not by themselves reduce risk to an unacceptable level. Meaning, kahit naayos mo ng maayos ang expiration dates, pero hindi naman siya na-check, di ba? Hindi mo na-reduce yung risk. So, kailangan silang work hand in hand. Okay? The second one is your complementary controls, which work with other controls to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. So, kailangan ng additional control. Okay? So, that's your compensatory, okay? And that's your complementary controls. Your compensatory controls or compensating controls, if the primary controls is ineffective, kailangan mo ng backup. Yung complementary controls, two controls or more should be working together to reduce the risk at an acceptable level. Okay? Guys, again, take note, controls can be people-based or system-based. Okay? So, people-based, yun nga, meron kang reviewer at the end of the day, manual na nagre-review, that's people-based. Meron din tayong controls, which is system-based, which is ginagawa lahat sa system. Okay? Guys, can you give me like 3 minutes?